Welcome, sweet dreamers. You're here, you're here. And you're my stalwarts. You know what the stalwarts are? The people who come regardless, because they want to hear, they want to know. So, how many of you do dream? Okay. Will everybody raise their hands?
Oh,
Everybody, because everybody dreams. Now, people could come back to me and say, oh, I don't dream, I don't dream. I hear that all the time. And what it is really is they don't remember their dreams. Okay. So, that's you.
the dreams that I do remember
Yeah.
actually occur within a month of my dream.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, good, good, good. So, well, as people kept telling me I don't remember my dreams, by the way, am I standing in a good place for you? Okay. When people tell me, you know, I don't remember my dreams and so on, I tell them you don't remember, blah, blah. And so here I am at a nearby community, Mountain Meadows. Do you know Mountain Meadows? Okay. That's where I live. That's where they live. That's where he lives. He happens to be my husband, Jim. So he comes along. He's been hearing me spiel on for 39 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
right. And talk about dreams for 34 years now. And I'm at Mountain Meadows, and it's not a very psi-friendly crowd. They're nice people, but they're not as hip and as aware to parapsychology and psi things. So enters me on the scene, and you know, it's like, go girl, do your work. do what you have to do to enlighten people. So one of the things I knew I had to do was talk about dreams and get people interested in dreams. So I said, you know, it doesn't hurt. I put myself up for a talk. I thought 5, 10 people would come. 64
Wow.
people came.
Wow.
And afterwards, the rewards that came to me were priceless. Do you know why? People came up to me and they were saying, you know, I don't remember my dream, but you know, after your talk, I had a dream about my father. And he just died. And we've really been separated. But now I understand some things between us that have happened, which I didn't understand before. Wow. And somebody else had a fight with their partner, and they had clarity. And someone else had clarity. And lights were going on all over the place. And I said, okay, that's what I was here to do. Sow the field of dreams. And I started a dream group. People were interested, meeting there once a month. I have my own dream book and dream group from California. And so my hope tonight is whatever you get, whatever we get to, you know, to talk about, to discuss, this is a beginning. What are we doing? We're sowing seeds for you to remember in the field of dreams. Now, me, I'm a psychologist. Call me a shrink, I won't be offended. I'm also a parapsychologist. I'm also an intuitive healer, etc., etc. And in all my work, I have never discovered such profound wisdom as that comes from the dreaming mind. And as we go through tonight, I'm going to talk about my dreams, I'm going to talk about other people's dreams. If you don't want me to ever know your dream, don't tell me. Or don't. I write books, and you know, they end up. I don't identify people by name, but and I've had lots of students and lots of people. So all of this to say, I'm going to give you a sampling of dreams as we go through tonight. And usually I say, and hold your questions until the end if possible, but you're my partners tonight. You're going to be in the act too. I'm up, not here by myself, because I'm going to say, oh yes, what do you say about this? What do you say about this? If you don't want to answer, you don't answer. 2 people here have heard me talk before. They should remember. If not, I'll have to call on them. No one answers. So, bottom line, let's get on with the show. You know, nightmares are daunting. They really frighten us. But one thing, about a nightmare, it's a wake-up call. It's a gift. And what is the gift? It shows us our emotional barometer. What is going on? What is wrong, so to speak? What needs an adjustment? What needs fixing? So as I talk about some of these nightmares, you're going to say, I would never call that a gift. But it is a gift and a wake-up call. Okay. With that, I'm going to get started. Oh, I'm in control of that. Hello. Dr. Carl Jung. Okay. The well-known, famed psychologist, psychiatrist. Bless you. And Dr. Jung said the dream is an invaluable commentator and illuminator of life. Listen to the wisdom of the dream. And I want to pause a moment and now, and just as an aside, make a comment. When people hear that I do dream research, dream talks, whatever they want to call me, they say, oh, that's silly. That's a lot of nonsense. The dreams don't mean anything. And I said, oh, yeah? Look, trust me. You be my subject. I'm going to teach you how to dream. And if you get a dream, you could tell me if it's meaningful or not. So the bottom line is people have to be educated, enlightened, whatever. So you're here for that. And so I'm grateful to be sharing this with you, sharing the wisdom of the dream. Okay. This is an old cartoon, but it just touches me every time. Oh, here's our sleeper. And what is he saying? What a swell idea. Cross tomato plants with pine trees to get Christmas trees with edible ornaments. And I got to remember this. And he goes right back to sleep. And there are the ghosts of great ideas past. And one says he won't remember it, and he's too dumb to keep a pad handy. And the other says, I didn't jot down my hula hoop idea either. What a shame. And someone says Cabbage Dolls was mine, but I couldn't think of it in the morning. And Marcia stands in front of you and says, yeah, I had a dream. There was a little guy, and he had this lightning on his forehead. And I heard somebody call him, Harry, Harry. Oh, and I woke up and I was thinking of Harry with the lightning on his forehead, but I didn't write it down either. Guess who did? J.K. Rowling, to the tune of lots of books and everything else. So that's just a reminder, to keep your pad and pencil handy. All right. As we go through, and I already said this and I'll repeat it again, I'm going to give you examples as we go through mine, other people's, my students, whoever comes to mind. You could retrieve timely and priceless wisdom inherent in a dream that can communicate illuminating insights. Robert Louis Stevenson, do you know what he wrote? Testing.
Treasure Island.
No, well, he did, but Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He saw that in a dream. And Shelley, she saw the Frankenstein monster. And Elias Howe, he was wrestling with the sewing machine, for those of you who are intimate sewers and know that. And he didn't know how to thread the needle. And he had a dream. And in the dream, the cannibals were coming at him. And somebody raised a spear, and his eye went to the tip. And he said, oh, that's it. That's where the needle needs to go, at the tip. So, I love that story. And there's so many more musicians and so on. Communicate illuminating insights. It also helps you resolve seemingly unsolvable problems. One of my students told me this. He had a friend who was working for the postal office, and they had a Jeep. And the Jeep was old and it was run down, and they tried to get it fixed, and it took a week, 2 weeks to get it fixed, very costly fix, and nothing was happening. So his friend was talking to my student, and my student said, I'm learning about dreams in my class from Dr. Emery. You should try that. And his friend had a dream. And in the dream, 2 cables were crossed. He went back to work the next morning, and he uncrossed the cables, And the Jeep worked perfectly. This is after weeks of everybody in and money spent fixing it. So, I mean, there are so many cases I have like that. So many, not my dreams, but collecting dreams of others. Then what else? They will help you face your fears. I remember I had a high-tech exec in human relations. And this is during many, many years ago. The layoffs were going on rapidly. And he said, I don't know, I might get the axe as well. So I said to him, did you have a dream? He said, well, no. And I said, well, try dreaming. Try dreaming about this. And he had a wonderful dream. He was on a skateboard, and he went to the edge of the cliff, and he stopped. And then he went off, and he landed perfectly. And with that perfect landing, he knew he was safe. And in real life, he was, from that moment on. And I mean, this is somebody who, if I call him a non-dreamer, he wasn't somebody who was necessarily a dreamer, but that gave him so much confidence. Then help you face your fears. Anybody afraid of speaking publicly? You think I am. I guess because I have my hand up, right? I'm telling you to put your hand up if you are. I mean, I've learned not to be, obviously. But there was, again, a student in my class, and he was just plagued by the thought of public speaking. And he joined a club, and that still didn't help. Whatever he did, didn't help. So I said, look, try dreaming about this and see what your dreaming mind is going to tell you. So it didn't happen overnight, but eventually he did have a dream, and he felt so very good that the dream came. And in the dream, he was speaking, not to a few people, to an audience, a large audience of people. And he was absolutely thrilled. His words came out effortlessly. He was comfortable. And then he went back to sleep, and he woke up, and he said, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do this. And you know what? He bit the bullet. And he got out there, and he did. He became a very good public speaker, speaking and speaking and speaking. So it came from seeing it in a dream. It came easily. Now, show you how to remember. That's personal blocks. Provide insight into a puzzling relationship. This I still remember. I lived in Nassau, Bahamas. You might say, who would live in Nassau, Bahamas? Well, I did. For 5 years, lived and worked there as well. And one night, a man who was a seeming friend of mine, we were talking. He was a confidant and a friend. And one night we're talking, and he pulls out a knife and boom, right in my back. And I'm like, and I woke up with, shaking and like this. I'm saying, my God, this is a trusted friend and confidant. I tell him things, and this is the way he betrays me. Guess what? I found out he did betray me. He revealed some personal information to other people that he should not have revealed. So, I mean, I saw it in a dream, but I would not have believed it. If anyone told me, I would not have believed it, but my dreamy mind told me. Okay. Last category, foretell the future. Has anyone ever had a dream that came true? Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know something? I think we all have at some point. And Edgar Cayce has a brilliant statement. He said, nothing happens unless we first preview it. No, sorry, let me say that again. Nothing of significance in our life happens unless we first preview it in a dream. And I'm going to give you an example of how I got onto the road to recovery, the road to precognitive dreaming. And I knew nothing about it at the time. But to give you a couple examples, Kathy, again, one of my students, in the dream, the butler came in, and he held out a plate to her, and he said, this is for you, ma'am. Your husband wants you to be happy, and he sent this to you. And it was a very delicate porcelain Easter egg. And she took it, and she was puzzled it wasn't Easter, and she didn't know what this meant. So, Easter comes along, guess what? The egg. She found out she was pregnant.
Oh.
After 7 years of marriage and not able to conceive, she found out she was pregnant from that dream. Are you sold? You're sold already before you came, but isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? I have another story that amazed me. How many of you know the name Debbie Allen? Debbie Allen, the choreographer, the dancer, Fame. And Debbie and I were part of a group with Mike Malone in Washington, D.C. And Mike was a well-known choreographer. And I was looking for Mike. I didn't know. Suddenly he disappeared, and I didn't know where he was. So I'm in a dream state, and I see Debbie. And I say, "Hey, Debbie, I'm looking for Mike. Where is he?" And she said, "Oh, Mike moved." And I said, "Well, where is he?" She said, "He moved to the West Side." So I thanked her, and I said, "Okay, thanks for the information." Now, I'm living in Washington, D.C. So the next day, little detective Emery from the dream work gets to New York to the information, and I ask for the phone number of Michael Malone. They give me the number. It's a brand new number. I call it. Mike answers the phone. He recognizes my voice, and he says, "How did you get my number? I just moved here yesterday." Okay, how did I get his number? It was all in a dream. Okay. I could end right now, and you could see how excited I am about the field of dreams and the information that comes. Okay. Now, we're just getting started, because I want to talk about health. Okay. With respect to health, your dream can foreshadow health challenges. And I'm going to, and during our time in speaking, come to several. Again, one of my students was very concerned about a friend's health. And when I say student, because they're in my classes and they hear me talk about dreams, by the way, the class I teach is not a dream class. It's integrating intuition and logic for managers. And as part of this, I insist that they learn about dreams. So he had a dream about a radiator, a broken radiator, and it was hissing all over the place, sending smoke, the steam, whatever. And he woke up and he says, "Oh my God," because he thought of his friend. He had a very dear friend who wasn't feeling well. And he said, "I got to get him to the doctor." And he told his friend, and he described the dream, and he said, "I really think this pertains to you. Can I get you to the doctors?" So the friend reluctantly agrees. Guess what? The friend had a heart blockage, and that was the signal. And just in time, the friend got him to the doctor to take care. Just simply an image in a dream, right? Just asking a question. Okay. You're going to hear another couple things about health. Diagnose and prescribe treatments. This is one of my favorite stories. How many of you are familiar with the ARE, the Association of Research and Enlightenment? Okay. And that's in Virginia Beach. I mentioned Edgar Casey. He was the psychic affiliated with ARE. And this is a case that came out of ARE. There was a woman who had some kind of malady here internally in her stomach, and she went to all kinds of doctors and everyone that she could possibly go to, and no one knew what to do. And finally someone told her, because they saw it in a dream, you need to eat a can of hearts of palm every day for a month. Now they still sell hearts of palm, by the way, cans, because I get it sometimes. So the person said, "Well, what do I have to lose? I haven't been healed yet, and I'm going from person to person." And the person got involved and started doing that, eating hearts of palm every day for 1 month. At the end of the month, healed. Case closed. Case closed. Now, how do these things happen? Who knows? But that the information comes through in a dream, to me, is amazing. So what was my dream the other day? I didn't get a case of hearts of palms. I got a case of avocados. And I've been on this plant-based diet and watching the Food Revolution Network. And so here the avocados come rolling at me in a dream. And I'll just say as a side note, there is such a thing as a dreamitarian diet. My friend, our friend, through at RMBL, Ed Kellogg, he has this dreamitarian diet, and I have a reference for you. And you could read, he gets all his information that he needs and wants to eat, and that he should eat in his dreams. So, dreamitarian, dreamitarian. Okay, let you know when your recovery is complete. Oh, this is a great story. This is about Norma. Norma is someone I knew when we lived in California, and she was in midlife, and she had a problem with her women's area. And the doctor took out her uterus and her ovaries, and afterwards they kept poking and prodding, are you okay, are you okay? I mean, that alone gets anybody anxious and nervous, right? She's trying to recover. So Norma was a dreamer, and she said, I don't know what's going on. The doctor wants to test me again. Hopefully I will have a dream. Norma goes to sleep, and she has a dream. In the dream, she's given a certificate for a free tank of gas. She gets in her car, and she goes over the hill. When she gets to the bottom of the hill, the tank is empty. She says, oh, I have a certificate for a free tank of gas. She gets tanked up, and off she goes. Okay, what did this tell her about her healing? She was over the hill. She was over the hill. Graphically, she was shown that she was over the hill, and she got tanked up by herself. She got the tank filled, and off she went. And it was true, after that moment, she never had another problem. Do you believe this? It's true. You know, it's true. And it reassured her. That is the important thing. Okay. Now, why does your dreaming mind dish up such strange, frightful, strange, scary images? Okay. You want to know about Joe? Joe, can you believe this? This is a dream. Joe is chased by a can of tomato paste. Now, I have to set the stage for this dream and how it came about and how I took a part in this. It's not my dream. Many years ago, I was part of a television series called Dream Decoders, and it was on cable TV. And for a moment, if you could picture, if you've ever seen The Voice, where they're in their chairs and they turn around, okay. This is before, I think they got the idea from Dream Decoders, because we're on set, and we never heard the dream before, okay? It was never given to us. And we're, wherever we are, facing this and that. And for the first time, and we didn't see the dreamer, for the first time, we hear this dream about Joe, and how Joe is being traced by this can of tomato paste. And he tries to get over the fence, and he can't get over the fence, and the can comes up and even rips his pants down, and he still can't get off, and he goes here, and he can't get away from this can of tomato paste. Funny and frightful, and frightful. So, I mean, we're hearing this for the first time. Never saw this guy, didn't know anything about him, and we had to,
Decode it.
yeah. What'd you say?
I said you had to decode it.
Decode it, right. That's why we were called the Dream Decoders. We had to decode it. So by this time, we turn around and we face him. And the first round, we get to ask him a couple questions. What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. When I asked him, I said, you know, where are you working now? I had a feeling he wasn't working. So I said, well, where are you working now? He said, well, I've just been laid off from my job. Okay, fact. Laid off from job. I said, okay. How's your family? What about your family? Well, my wife is pregnant. I said, you know, anyone else in the family? He said, yes, I have a son. And he didn't say anything else, and the next person goes, the next person. So already I'm getting clues. Pregnancy. So then we come to our next round of telling him, asking him, you can't really just tell the person, but you have to bring them in and suggest, you know, what is happening. So it comes to me, and I say, well, Joe, tell me. You tell me you're out of work, right? And you tell me your wife is pregnant. I said, how do you feel about the pregnancy? And he says, well, she had a very bad pregnancy the first time. I said, okay. And it just came out of my mouth. What I said next was, do you feel responsible? So he laughed. Of course he's responsible. He impregnated her, So, that was a laugh moment. But it's still, I knew he was carrying something heavy, and that word responsible was important. So I said something else to him, whatever it was. The next person goes on and is talking about something else. One gal says maybe it's telling you to go home and make some spaghetti and some pasta. So when it comes back to me again and I'm working with Joe, I said, okay, Joe, let's get back to this can of tomato paste. Can any of you get the association yet? Pregnancy, the afterbirth. The afterbirth, the bloody afterbirth, following him, and his guilt at her being pregnant. When he's out of work, it wasn't just the bad pregnancy. He's out of work and she's been pregnant before. So, with this, you don't just, let a person, okay, now we know what the dream is about, but what can you do about it? So I had to, then take some palliative, measures as a psychologist with him, what he could do and so on. But, isn't that interesting how a can of tomato paste and being chased by it, and when he understood it, he felt better. There was a relief, okay? So, I'm responsible. No, my wife's responsible. We're in it together. We'll figure this out. Maybe we have to take better care during pregnancy this time, whatever. So, and any questions about this with Joe and how I went about this? Interesting. Okay. Jody's teeth are falling out. Well, this is common. Okay. Any of you ever have that? Before you're speaking, you don't want to say something, you don't want to do something, your teeth are falling out. Okay. Anna shows up naked at work. Here I am. Well, we could say, well, maybe she's just, exhibitionist. But, what else could we say about Anna? She's revealing something. She's what?
She was exposed.
She was exposed. We got you, Anna. We got your number. And Rose's brakes fail in traffic. Okay. Time out for some water because now Rose is me, the Rose. That's my maiden name, Rose. That's why. And my mother was a Gemini. Gemini is yellow. I always bring my mother to a talk
Cool.
in the form of a rose. Her name was Naomi Rose. Okay. Once upon a time, I was a very straight psychologist. What does that mean? I didn't even know about psi. I didn't know the words parapsychology. I didn't know any of that in my life or my actions. And it was just very, very foreign to me. And the only reason I had a dream, I started dreaming. This is as silly as it could be, and here I'm on
Thank you.
the tube
National television.
talking about this, but it's very interesting because my mother's here. It's like, mother urges you, tell it. It's cute. Tell it. So I don't know if any of you remember or know the name Sidney Omar, who was a very well-known astrologer. And Sidney used to write these books for your signs. And I'm a Pisces. So my mother gives me this book on Pisces. And I said, oh, Ma, that's so silly. What are you giving me this? She says, it's cute. It's only a mother could say. It's cute, read it. So that night, when I turned to the first page that I was supposed to look at, it said something of importance, profound importance is going to happen to you. And get a dream book and write it down. I didn't even know what that meant. So I got a dream book, and I wrote this dream down that I'm about to tell you. In this dream, very brief dream, I put my foot on the brake. It went right to the floor. And then the car rolled over, and I got out unharmed. End of dream. But what I haven't told you yet, when I woke up that morning, I had severe palpitations of the heart. I didn't know what was going on, where I was, what I was feeling, what was happening, what was going on. And I took me a minute to just get righted and know where I was. And I finally saw where I was okay, and I could go on. But you know, a psychologist, what does a psychologist say to a dream like that? Why are you trying to hurt yourself? Why? You know, so you forget it. You just discard it. Okay, that was the dream. I discarded it. I'm sorry, when I talk a lot. So the next day, it's Saturday morning, and I live in Washington, D.C., as I mentioned before. And I'm on my way to a dance rehearsal. I'm a dancer, as well as an academic. And I'm on the way to a dance rehearsal. And Washington, D.C., on a Saturday morning, there's traffic everywhere. And one of my dancers, Mike, was sitting next to me. And Mike is sitting next to me in what we used to call the death seat. We didn't have seat belts in those days. So we're driving the traffic. I put my foot on the brake, and it goes right to the floor. I say, Mike, my brakes don't work. He says, pull up the emergency. I said, that doesn't work either. And I had a quick second to think of, what do I do? I was panicked. And I heard a voice. Now I hear voices, but then psychologists didn't hear voices, so you didn't tell anybody you heard a voice. But I heard a voice, and a voice said to me, make a quick right. I made a quick right. I got between two men's clothing stores. There was someone in front of the car before I crashed. They got out of the way. My car, an accordion. And Mike, not a scratch on him from the death seat. And we limp out of the car. And it was just like the dream, you know, the brake going to the floor. And we got out, and I was okay. So did I learn anything from this? Of course not. You know, who learns? That's just a dream. That's just a silly dream. So here we are. By this time, I have a brand new car. It's weeks later. A yellow Chevy Nova. And I don't even know if they make those cars anymore. And I'm on my way to an 11 o'clock meeting. I'm teaching at Federal City College is what it was called then. And I'm on my way to a meeting. And I put my foot on the brake, and I hear a ping. I said, wait a minute, this is familiar. This is familiar. I dreamt this. And then I remembered what I dreamt. Now I'll go back and tell you the dream. I dreamt that I'm on my way to an 11 o'clock meeting. I put my foot on the brake, and I didn't know. I hear this ping. I see a policeman coming toward me. The policeman says, can I help you? I said, I see no parking, but I'm on my way to an 11 o'clock meeting, and my brake isn't working. Can you watch my car? He said, yes, you'll be okay. A brake problem in my dream. You know what happened? I just told you. Exactly as I dreamt it. But you know what that ping was? A brake cable snapped. A brand new car, a week old. A brake cable snaps. Was I told and given that information? Yes. Did I listen? No. So, right up here.
So I thought, when you said yellow Nova, I thought of your mother.
Yes, telling me then. She was alive then, but yes, but we had a very telepathic connection. Yeah. Oh, my mother. What does she do? I get home and the phone is ringing, and I pick up the phone. I'm so shook up, and it's my mother. How's your car? How's my car? I didn't want to tell her that I was in an accident. The car's so completely smashed up and can't even use it. I said, what a question. You don't ask how I am, how Clyde is, how Bonnie is. How's your car? And she started to cry. And I mean, she's in Pennsylvania. I'm in Washington, D.C. She said, I don't know why I said that to you. I'm sorry. So I said, it's okay, Mom. I had an accident. the car is smashed up. I'm okay. I'm okay. So all of this begins to play. And all this time, I'm a straight psychologist. You know, I don't know this stuff. I don't know it. But I'm still beginning to get the idea and learning fast. So that's a whole other talk for me to give. How I got into psi and the trajectory and all the things I went through, the tarot, when I was... It's a fascinating story. And I'd love to tell that sometime, Nikki. That's... what's so unreal is for me, a Ph.D., a doctor, and all that other stuff, all the initials behind my name, to have this stuff happen to me, and I never heard of it. I never heard of precognition until somebody put in my hands Edgar Mitchell's book on psychic explorations. And that wasn't until about 10 years later, after all this was happening to me. Okay, so so precognition is an area that I absolutely love and adore, because to this day I get my dreams, what's coming up and what is happening. Okay. Okay, so okay, I have to go back. Can you handle one more story about myself?
Sure.
Please say yes, because it's in my script and I've got to do it if I'm scripted to do it. Okay, this is a good story, actually. I had a dream, and in the dream, a tall female physician tells me I had cancer. And I look at her and I say, "No, I don't." And I was very active. "You're a quack. You're a phony." This was in my dream. "You're a quack. You're a phony. I don't have cancer." And I wake up. What is this about? So what does every woman do? You know, you go through, feel yourself up, you know, the breasts and what's going on. And it was the strangest dream to me. So I, again, wrote it down and forgot about it. So what came to pass was a couple weeks later, I had a little red dot at the end of my nose. That's all, just a little red dot. And I said, you know, I've got to go see a dermatologist about this. So I found the dermatologist, and I go, and the doctor was a short man. In my dream, it was a tall woman. This was a short man. Okay. And I tell him, you know, the dot, and he lies me down, you know, on the table there. And I'm lying there and telling him. And the next thing I know, I'm seeing blood splurting all over the place. I said, "What happened? What did you do?" He said, "I had to cut a piece out for a biopsy." What? He doesn't ask me. I'm a speaker publicly. Even if I wasn't a speaker, it was so invasive. He didn't ask me. He just cut out a piece of my nose for a biopsy. So I go into his office afterwards, and he said, well, you know, we're going to send the biopsy away and see, you know, how it comes back. And somehow it came back right away. The biopsy came back right away. I don't know how I landed back in his office. But I know what happened. So he said, we're going to send this away. He said, "But I still think you need surgery." That was the line. "I think you need surgery. There's something wrong." So my little Taurus rising mind says, "How much is it going to cost?" And he says, "Oh, I don't know. It'll be about $1,500 to $2,000. At that moment, the dream flashed. "You're a quack, you're a phony." You're a quack, you're a phony. Now, dreams sometimes do mirror images. That's why I said the tall female, and this was the short male. So I sat there and I just looked at him, because I remembered that dream. I said, "Thanks, but no thanks. You could let me know the biopsy, but I am not interested in surgery." And of course, I was all clear. I went to see another doctor, and I was all clear. But look at that warning that came from this crooked man. I could go on telling you more about this man. He just defrauded so many people coming up. But here it was right in my dream. What if I didn't listen? What if I didn't listen? Okay. So anyway, these are stories. Let's keep going. Dreams speak in symbols. Pictures, symbols. When you have a dream, it's a picture, symbol, and an image. That's your right brain, you know, speaking to you in a dream. And here's a symbol. Okay. Tell me, what is that? What do you see there?
The door.
A door. Anyone else see anything else?
Closed off.
Closed off. A float. Okay. So we want to know, you know, what is it? What do you feel its function is? Closed off, keeping away, you know. But the interesting thing is, symbols are very personal. And one of the things that we say when we're doing dream analysis, if this were my dream, this is what it would mean to me. That's a very important line. Okay. Jeremy Taylor made that line. Famous, and we all adopted it afterwards. And so, what are your associations now? Suppose I say the symbol of a cat. Your turn. Tell me, what does a cat mean?
What is, say again?
A cat.
Say that louder.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said. What does, if a cat came up in your dream, what does a cat mean to you? Or if I told you a cat came up in my dream, what might that
They're
mean?
annoying.
Annoying?
And I think they're loving. And
Loving. Okay. So these are some possible associations. If a cat comes up, you know, they could be aloof, they could be independent, they could be hunter, graceful, feminine energy. The interesting thing, my cats, I love cats, and my cats used to come up when I was writing a book, before I was writing a book and it became out there. Okay. How about the symbol of a house on fire? Suppose somebody dreamt of a house on fire. What might that mean?
You yourself are full of passion.
Yeah, that's a good one. You yourself are full of passion.
Anger.
And anger,
Loss of everything.
loss of everything. Okay.
How about the phoenix rising and something new coming?
Oops. Okay. So house on fire. Check your home for hazards, something burning you up, fever. I knew someone at one point, and he had a dream about his girlfriend, and she came in, and the house was suddenly on fire. And he didn't know what that meant. And I thought about it. And he later found out that she was burning him up with her behavior. So, you know, it depends on the person and the dream. So if we have chest wounds, lack of confidence, heartache, heart condition, this I love, having a baby. Men, you could have a baby in a dream. You don't want it? A baby, a new project, a new you, a new something. Anytime a baby comes up, it could be something new coming up and going on and happening. Okay, now, I want to teach you a little technique called the amplification technique. Janet was one of my students, and Janet had a dream about her boss. And her boss turned into a bear in the dream, and she didn't know what that meant, because she had to go and she had to face him the next day and work with him. And what does this mean? I see this man as a bear. Now, it was only a symbol in a dream, but to get at this, to understand it, you know, we have to massage it. We have to get into that symbol and see what it means. So suppose we're helping her. I'm Janet, okay, and we're helping her. So, and we keep coming back. A bear means what?
Introspection. Looking within.
It means I have to,
Introspection.
introspection, okay, power, strong, powerful, protective, predator,
Fierce.
Very protective.
okay. So when I did this with her, a bear was ferocious. A bear was huge. A bear was cuddly. Ready for this? A bear was huggable. She said, you know, he's a nice guy. I could get next to him. It didn't mean that they wouldn't have a relationship, but you know, she said I could get next to him. I could get close to him. Okay, so that's one technique we use. What's that up there?
I don't know what that is.
Somebody watching me? They don't like what I said? Okay. Oh, no wonder it's coming on, because I can't get my next slide. Stop the show. What is happening next?
Now it's gone.
Okay. Okay, here's another technique called word association. It's another technique, and with this technique, now, this part wasn't supposed to show. So here's somebody saying, what kind of car should I buy? And he goes to sleep, and he dreams of a circus. And word association, you begin a chain of associations. So circus means animals, animals means elephant, elephant, big trunk. Aha! What's the aha? I'll buy a minivan for extra storage. So I show you those two techniques because when you get your symbols in your dreams, you could pull out a symbol with the amplification, as we're going to do, or you could pull out a symbol with the word association. Okay, here's someone else. What should we give her name? Let's call her Sally. Sally had a dream about her partner, Nellie. And for Sally's dream, I was in a social setting, and Nellie was being strong and intimidating. She pulled out a gun and shot someone. Then she pointed the gun at me and was going to shoot me. Then Nellie said she'd decide whether to spare me. I wasn't completely afraid, and then another woman came and held a gun over Nellie. All right, one of the ways I work, there are so many ways of working with dreams, but my way is an intuitive way. It's called a power shift, mind shift, and dream shift. And I take one or two symbols that just come forward to me. So, I mean, this one is really obvious. What's the main symbol? The gun.
The gun.
Okay. So, we're going to take the gun. Can I do it, or do you have to?
I think I'm gonna have to. This one right here?
Yeah. Oh, so I could have asked you a lot of things about the gun. We'll get this going faster. So when I did this with her, we came up to a gun was a weapon, a gun is fire, a gun is protection, a gun is power, a gun is hunting. And then she says, oh my God, calling the shots. She's always calling the shots. And I have to talk to her about that. Now, a gun could be very frightening, a gun dream. But do you see how easy that was? She's always calling the shots. She's always calling the shots. And that gave her peace because from there, she was able to go on and talk to her partner about that. I had a gun dream, and I will try to do this quickly. I woke up one morning, and it was after a dream, where I took a gun and I shot somebody. I mean, this was a nightmare for me. And it turned out to be a man who was my nemesis. I lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And what was I doing there? This gorgeous man married me. I married him. That was his home. So I come to conservative Grand Rapids. Me. The Queen of Psi comes to conservative Grand Rapids. So this psychologist, Paul Critelli, didn't like this. He didn't like my talking about intuition or psi or parapsychology, any of the things. And anytime I was on the air, he'd cut in. I want equal time. I wasn't Dr. Emery, I was Dr. Becker. I want equal time with Dr. Becker. If I was doing personal appearances, he would just stride onto the stage. I want equal time, I want equal time. I mean, this went on about 20 times between medias, one way or another. I wanted to move, I wanted to get out of the areas as fast as I could. He was my Torquemada from the Spanish Inquisition, the one who's the Grand Inquisitor, and I was scared as you know what. So, naturally I shot him, but still, would I have killed him in real life? No, no. My morality, I never would have taken a gun and killed him. But the dream still puzzled me. It still puzzled me. So I had to do this. I had to take the gun and go through it means this, 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 this. A gun is an ending. And I thought, ending? I'm putting an end to this situation, to this nonsense with him. And the next time I see him, I'm going to be fearless because he's not going to hurt me. He's not going to hurt me. So the next time I'm giving a talk, and again he does his crap where he just strides right in, you know, and I want equal time, and I want equal time. And you know what I did? Hello, Paul. How are you? Did you have something to say to me? And he was stunned because I wasn't cowering, but I was straight and I was tall. I was 6 feet tall, if you could believe that. And he just shrunk, and he went out the door. And I never heard from him again. And it all happened from that killing dream. It all happened from that. So that was good. Okay, where are we going from here? Okay, metaphors, just very easy. You know, metaphors, pictures, complex pictures, etc. The top gives you a picture. It's a complex situation. It gives you a picture. You could take what you take from it, but it's always personal. Okay, here's a picture someone's at. Where are they? At a crossroads. Yeah, we see that very, very clearly. So some meanings, you know, they're obvious, but some are cultural, some are archetypes, but basically they're very, very personal. Okay, next slide. Now the universal symbols, we remember the naked and flying because that's so, even the killing, I think, I don't see that on here. Teeth falling out, but frequently when there's an analysis, the house dreams come up a lot, water comes up a lot, for anybody who dreams of water. Now, what does water signify? Usually it's emotions. Not usually, yeah, that's a good meaning for the water. Okay, now, I was going to take time and go through each of these universal. Let's go on to the next one. Losing your teeth. Okay. Any of these things are possible. Now, I want to tell you right now, don't worry about these. Don't write them down. You could get my PDF. You could get the whole slideshow. You could do it for yourself privately, and you could see and, you know, write it down at that point. So losing a teeth, you know, and are you embarrassed? What does it mean? You're afraid to speak out. How did I feel? You know, did I feel embarrassed? There are all kinds, you know, if you're going to really get into understanding your dreams, there are all these questions you have to start asking yourself. How did I feel? What did it do to me? Etc. Okay, next slide. Showing up naked. Okay. And you know, a lot of these things when they come up, we're very embarrassed. I was thinking of the time I was at a conference and I was getting ready to do a dream presentation, and there was a couple next to me, a young couple, and we got talking, and what are you speaking on? What are you speaking on? I said dreams, blah, blah, blah. And this guy said, boy, I had the weirdest dream. I don't want to tell you about it. I said, tell me. I won't hurt you. Come on, tell me. And he said, well, you know, I dreamt I was sleeping with my mother-in-law. And he waited to see that I was going to be shocked. And I said, so? And he said, don't you think that's terrible, that I'm sleeping with my mother-in-law? I said, well, let's see what that means. Let's go into the dream. What was so shocking about that? So what do you think I pointed out? Your mother-in-law, anima, the animus, the feminine quality of the woman. Tell me about your mother-in-law. Anyway, it turned out she was a very nice, gentle woman. The things he said were very nice. I said, are you that way in real life? He said, no. I said, would you like to be? He said, yes. I said, can you see now why you coupled with your mother to bring those qualities into your life? So it's the same thing, I think of that, you know, with the being naked, where it sounds so terrible. But sometimes we do feel vulnerable. Sometimes we do feel open. Sometimes we're hiding something. And, oh, here, I want to be authentic. I want to bear it all. Okay, next. Flying. These are wonderful dreams. Have any of you ever flown in a dream? Well, you know how wonderful that feels. That just up and above. And sometimes, you know, we rise above. It's very fanciful. We rise above the situation. What are we also doing? We're gaining a perspective. And think of how you felt. I know I feel so free with the flying and no limitations, no control, nothing of the sort, nothing. Okay, I'm just going to go through these quickly. I'm not going to even ask if you had dreams like this. Okay, falling. Okay. I don't like when people say, oh, they say if you fall, you're going to wake up and you're going to be dead. You're not going to wake up and you're going to be dead. No, nonsense. When we fall, something is pulling us down. We're headed in a wrong direction. Okay. Did you feel out of control? Did you feel terrified? What did you feel? Helpless? Did you feel relieved? Okay. Next. Being chased. Have you ever been chased by a monster? You're going along and the monster comes and chases you. And you know, you're running away from something, maybe from your inner self, a fear. Maybe there's something fearful in your situation, something unwanted. And you know, look at how you feel. Some people would feel exhilarated that they're getting away. So for this, then we have to say, I'll tell you about a little episode here coming up next. Running from your fears. I had a recurrent nightmare of being chased by a monster lurking in the darkness. And one night I was trapped up against a wall. I turned around and faced the monster and I said, "What are you going to do to me?" And the monster replied, "I don't know, lady. It's your dream." Okay. We're getting ready to wind this up. You know, one of the things, as I say, I have a couple dream groups going now in California and Mountain Meadow one, and you know, among yourselves sometime, you know, you might, Nikki, even think of sponsoring a dream group, you know, people here, you know, it might evolve into something like that. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm really good at dreams, but I often get insight from others. That's what I'm saying. Not that I'm so great as a dreamer, but that I get insight from others. So just a suggestion. But what I'm really excited to tell you about is the next slide, which says, the International Association for the Study of Dreams, that's going on its 35th year. I came in at the 4th year. And this organization began in 1984. It gathers internationally. Guess what? Last year, we were supposed to be right here in Ashland for the first time. Guess why we were canceled? So now we're going to be in Tucson. But because we were canceled, and we had a weekend one canceled as well, the annual conference is going to be held July 18th to the 23rd in Ashland, Ashland, Oregon.
2023.
Yes, 2023. Yeah. Oh, there's a 23 there. Yeah. Yeah. 2023. 23. So that's, you know, exciting. And if you want information, you know, I have a sheet there. You know, I could, you know, give you information on that.
So is there also one in Tucson this July?
Yes. Yes. If anybody is interested, I'll be there. Yeah. It's we're so excited that we are finally having a live conference. We're beyond joy because 2 years we had to take off and go virtual, and it wasn't the same. So it's going to be really an outstanding conference. Okay, the next slide is to, people often ask me about lucid dreaming. Well, you have one of the top lucid dreamers, in my estimation, one of the top internationally, and that's Ed Kellogg, and he's a local right here. And Ed, I have a reference to a couple of his papers on a sheet that I'm going to give out. And I can't really talk strongly about lucidity, as certainly he and others involved can. There's an annual online conference that he sponsors with his partner, Robert Wagner. And it's the last week of October, and it goes for 2 weeks, and everything is online. And it's streamers from all over, and it's just so exciting. You know, you feel like they're right next door. So that's another event to look forward to.